Hello, Collateral Gaming listeners. Chazzle Dazzle here from the Trial by Error Variety Show podcast. I just wanted to take a few seconds to invite you guys over to what we do. No, it's not video games, but we do invite really awesome and unique bands from all over the world. We dig deep into their souls and find really cool stories to tell you, and there's tons of music every week, so subscribe to us wherever you subscribe to your podcast. We look forward to having you.
I'm Ashley Chancellor, and this is Collateral Gaming. Welcome to Collateral Gaming, the only video game podcast that matters, where we focus on good games, bad games, and everything else in between in the world of gaming. I am podcasting straight from somewhere in South Texas, and yes, my friends, this is a 420 friendly podcast, so whatever you have, smoke it if you've got it. And once again, another game launch episode with just yours truly. You know what? I thought the last couple ones rocked, so fuck it. Here we are. We're talking Dying Light 2. I mean, really, I'm not going to bullshit. Like, I'm on my lunch break right now. I'm going to do this in like 30, 45 minutes, and we're just going to talk about it. Spoiler-free. The game's been out for like a fucking month now, so there's really no reason to be spoiler-free. But we're maintaining our original promise. You know, I'm making on that promise for you, because you're my listeners and I care about you, and also because I want to get this out of the way and I want to talk about other things too, you know. But let's talk about Dying Light 2, all right? Because Dying Light is one of those games that I feel like I should really have played more into. There was stuff going on, and that's kind of the case with Dying Light 2. I feel like the game is majorly overlooked. I don't really hear a lot of people talking about it, and probably because, you know, it came out right before we got Horizon Forbidden West and Elden Ring. So, you know, with those two games really overshadowing, in particular Elden Ring, those are both also games we're talking about on the podcast, and that's why I gotta get to those. That's the thing. All right, guys, too much shit came out in February, you know. So I'm sorry, we're catching up. It's gonna happen. I know somebody was asking me about Elden Ring on Instagram, and that is definitely happening. So, in fact, I'm gonna try to get this shit out today, the day I record this. Anyway, not to get sidetracked again. A little too much weed, a little too much beer in my system, maybe. So, Dying Light was one of those games that I really felt like deserved more attention than it got. It was something that my brother and I used to play along with all the time, actually, Dakota. So I know he'd be excited to play Dying Light 2. I don't know if he ever bought it or not. Little bastard. Not on the podcast anymore. But, yeah, no, Dying Light was a lot of fun. I never really got that far into the game. I never even got to the part where you get the fucking grappling hook and shit. But I remember watching Dakota play all of that, and I recently did repurchase the game on Switch, and I've been playing through it on Switch a certain ways through, kind of in preparation for Dying Light 2. But I also have been playing a hell of a lot of Dying Light 2. And let me tell you, it's fun. It's definitely a lot more polished than the first game was. In the same way that I feel like Horizon Forbidden West is a huge improvement on the first game, Dying Light 2 is a huge improvement on Dying Light 1. They just went all out. The game feels just that much more fleshed out and better. If anything, there's even more of an open world nature to it. And you still have this, you know, kind of one city that you have to explore, but it seems a hell of a lot bigger than the first one was. I mean, this time you're in Villador rather than in Haran, and yeah. The parkour is definitely a lot better. All of the skills, it seems, from the first game have made a return, and most of them you just already have. So Dying Light 2 kind of just focuses on all of those skills. And you're not playing as Kyle Crane, you're playing as Aiden in this one. He's a completely new character. This game takes place 15 to 20 years after the first game. So it's quite a bit different. There is one character that shows up from the first game in the very beginning. And I feel like because it's the very beginning, it shouldn't be a spoiler, but I still think it's kind of a nice surprise to just come across. So I recommend it. The opening hours of the game are actually beautiful. Honestly, they don't even you're not even in Villador yet. You're just kind of in this the wilderness. And Aiden is a pilgrim. He's a character in this world who actually travels outside of the cities, because basically in the first game we had this zombie virus. What was it called? Like THV or something? I don't know. The Haran virus, for lack of a better term, because I think they refer to it as that a few times in this game. It was a virus, the zombie virus that was isolated to Haran, right? And the whole first game deals with your deals with the outside world, the GRE, this militaristic organization, kind of dealing with that, and ultimately Haran is gone. I mean, this is 15 to 20 years later, so whatever happened in the first game, fuck it all. Everybody died. It sucks, but it's true. And now the virus is worldwide. Why? Because they actually got a handle on it, and then they kept studying the virus, and then it leaked, and it fucked over the world. And God, this game just is so poignant today, honestly. Like just with the whole situation. But Villador is much the same as Iran. So if you played the first game, you kind of understand the setup. You've got this one city that's isolated from everybody in the city's infected. That's just a given. In fact, people are used to not spending too much time in the dark. Unfortunately, Antizin, the drug in the first game that halted the side effects of becoming a zombie, and halted the transformation process, that no longer works on the new variant. And so, the only way to stave it off is UV. And consuming like these like boosters or inhibitors, it's crazy. But and so a big portion of the game is actually focused on trying not to becoming infected. You have an immunity level, and I don't ever remember having that in the first game, at least not as far as I went through it. So that's an additional stress that you have to worry about, something that you worry about when you go at night. But I do feel like you do a lot more nighttime shit in this game. I mean, in the first game, night is kind of treated as this like challenge mode, like you'll gain this many more points while you're in nighttime, and you'll get all these bonuses. But like, that's just for you to kind of grind and shit. Like it's not necessarily required for story progression. Some of the side quests want you to do it, but in this game, quite a bit of the side quests, at least around half of them, require you to move around at night. A lot of the activities and collectibles in the game are require you, or just that much easily done at night, because there are advantages. All the zombies are outdoors at night, so you can go indoors, and you still have to deal with immunity and shit because you're in a dark space indoors, and there's still a few sleeping zombies in there, but a lot less, and not the dangerous ones. Those ones are on the streets. So you have specific side quests and even parts of the story that take place at night and require you to kind of finesse your way. And you've got to be careful. It's much the rules of the first game. Stick to the rooftops, because you've got on the ground level, you've got these like howler enemies that will alert and start a whole chase against you that just goes up in stages of progression, much like the police on your tail in GTA. It's very much like that. And you've got this huge zombie horde after you. And you just have to make it as quickly as possible to some UV, because you're fucked. So I actually really, really, really enjoyed the enhancement, the addition of some of those gameplay facets. I know I'm kind of all over the place here. One thing I was going to say was that, Villador is kind of this other closed off area, just like Haran, but apparently that's all the world is now, is just, it's just, these few settlements. The world is just been completely decimated, in the true sense of the term, because I think that the figure is something like 10%, if not less, of the population left, and just a complete fraction of of civilization, and even philosophical questions about whether society should turn out the way that it did before. Is this part of the problem or whatnot? And there's a lot of questions about that. There's even some politics in play with the government seizing arms and how that affected the populace, and not even necessarily a statement either which way, whether what was right or wrong, but just kind of, like just the aftermath of all these civilizations. You have the GRE's over, but you have a militaristic faction, an occupation within Villador, which are known as the Peacekeepers, and you can even side with them, or you can side with the survivors, and you can unlock different areas of the city, like windmills and power water towers and power substations, and you can actually give them to either faction, and those come with various different perks. With the survivors kind of aiding you more with traversal and stealth, whereas the Peacekeepers are going to help you more with combat and just, laying traps for the infected. So anyway, in a world where you have these just settlements of population, a pilgrim's somebody who actually runs on the outside world, and people are kind of scared at them because, I mean, these are people that just fucking like... They just keep going, and Aiden is somebody who's managed to go for years and travel just thousands of miles or kilometers without getting infected. And then the second he shows up in Villador looking for his sister, that's his main goal in this game, he gets infected, and he's actually treated really poorly. People want to kill him, but it's like, okay, this guy Hakan helps you out, and he helps you get a biomarker so you can identify yourself, and that kind of introduces you to the whole immunity mechanic and having a visual indication of how far you're progressing into immunity in a time limit. And really what you have to do is just make sure that when you're in a closed environment in the dark and like your immunity goes out, just carry plenty of consumables with you that will stave off that progression. UV shrooms, very common, or you can get immunity boosters, and so it's not that. In fact, you can even craft like UV, like bar lights, whatever they're called, like just like light bars and glow sticks, basically, and throw them in and use them. But because indoors, it's not going to be as easy to get to one of those, to get to a UV, safe zone. But a lot of the mechanics of the first game return, of course, creating safe zones and just the overall parkour and combat approach. You can no longer repair weapons in the traditional way. That was something I found out the hard way. I thought like, oh, like how do you, and I was looking it up, I was like, how the fuck do you repair shit? And then I realized that you can't. But what you can do is weapons that you really like, you can modify them. And that's the thing. Modification actually adds to the durability of the weapon. So it's something that's worth doing actually later on, once you've actually used the weapon a little bit. And you can increase its durability and give it a kick-ass punch, So I spent quite a bit of time in the game, actually, quite a bit more than I feel like I did in the first game. Like, if this game was like a three-act show, I mean, I feel like I got past the first act, and I'm now within the center, which is, for the whole first part of the game, like, what you're trying to get to. And what you don't realize is you're accessing what's maybe like a third of the game world at that point, and that's already big enough as it is, and has plenty to do, and so many missions that I had to skip over because I'm trying to move along. And you don't even get the paraglider yet. Yeah, you get the fucking paraglider, and later on you're supposed to get a grappling hook. I haven't got that far yet, but it's a hell of a lot of fun. This game just really ramped up the fun from the first game, and anything you came to expect of that, but just with a highly more polished experience. Again, it feels a lot like what Horizon Forbidden West did for Horizon Zero Dawn. A game that was held back by its own limitations, its own budget and time frame, and showing that the concept was enough to appeal to people. What does it look like whenever we actually throw money at this? And that's what Dying Light 2 is, and it's a shame it's kind of overlooked. And I will say that I think that like Elden Ring is a far better quality game. Don't get me wrong, but you can definitely see the hours of effort that were poured into this game. It feels like a game that wasn't rushed. By the way, I don't believe any crunch happened here, and I'm gonna say this again. You'll hear it again before the end of the month on other episodes. But crunch is why games have issues. You take any good game out there like this, just completely blew you away, and more than likely there was no crunch involved in it. At least that's my perception. Maybe I'm wrong.
Don't screw up the password again. This time, we'll blow your head off.
Sweet. Love you too.
You better get it right. Now listen, Steve, don't try to warn anyone I'm here.
Rainer said you were a pilgrim.
None of your business.
You think your barking will make an impression on me?
Did you know a girl named Mia?
Mia? No. Who's Mia?
She's my sister.
Promise you'll never leave me alone here. Never.
I won't leave you.
Swear.
I don't have to.
Not him, no!
A long time ago, Waltz hurt her. He took her from me. And I want him to tell me where she is.
Well, that kind of information is expensive. Maybe I can help you.
Welcome to paradise.
Look around, Aiden. What do you see?
Something people outside the walls could only dream of.
Who would have thought the end of the world would be so peaceful? I wish Crane could have seen this.
Luan, it's not a sign of weakness to say you were worried.
Death is how we thank traitors. You didn't say you were working for Ader.
I don't work for Ader, I work for myself.
Here we're all infected.
Are you scared of him?
Most people are.
Those who are weak just give up.
Keep them busy.
They stop caring about anything. Give up on life, but you still care.
Drop him.
One move and he dies!
Drop him!
You're no leader, Carl.
On behalf of all its whores, bandits, and idiots, I christen you a citizen of Vinidor.
And in the name of law, you're sentenced to death for treason.
I know what loss is like.
Talking about someone in particular?
She trusted you, and you failed her. I'll be okay.
You pay for that.
3 against 1? I like those odds.
Count again.
Sometimes you have to become a monster to stay human.
You're torturing us! You're hurting me!
Nothing could ever tear us apart anyway.
Fuck the plan. We don't know what's up there.
You understand nothing.
A little boy wants to pretend he's a grown-up. A precious little boy.
But yeah, no, this game definitely feels like they spent the time on it that they really needed to. There's plenty of content. It's very much the same kind of thing as the first game, so if you just really weren't into that, you might not like it, but I might give it a shot. I think, unlike Horizon Forbidden West, which builds upon the story of the last game, like this game very much is its own story. You don't have to have played Dying Light 1. In fact, and it's different enough that, you know, maybe if you only halfway tried Dying Light 1 and you didn't like it, you might give this one a shot. I mean, if there's a demo out or you can watch some gameplay videos and see if it's something you're into, I would definitely recommend it. But again, you know, it may not be everyone's thing. I like the action RPG gameplay combined with the parkour mechanics. The combat is a lot of fun. There's so many different ways that you can approach combat and situations. You know, I found a place in the game where it looked like I was supposed to like knock out all these guys, but I just fucking ran away because I didn't care. And I realized that was totally okay to do. The game didn't punish me for doing it. There is the story isn't bad. I mean, I feel like there were at times where I kind of just wasn't paying much attention, and I didn't really know why I was going where I was going, but like I understood the overall what was happening. And there definitely are a lot of character relationships that you build throughout the game, and you know, kind of wondering what are the what am I trying to say? What are going to be the outcomes of these characters? What are their real motivations? Like Hakon, for instance, you know, like why is this guy helping me so much? And you know, what's going on here? Rosario Dawson delivers a performance, and it's quite a ways into the game. I mean, you spent maybe like, I could have easily spent a good 10, 20 hours before I even got to the point where the story just really picked up, and like Rosario Dawson comes in, and she's just an immediately likable character as Lawan. Already seeing kind of sparks flying and whatnot. And it's funny because there was another character I felt like Aiden kind of had a romantic connection with, but yeah, as far as I know, there aren't any romance options in this game or any overt romance from what I've heard. That might be a spoiler. I'm not going to talk about it because I don't know. But with the amount of time that I've spent on this game, I really have thoroughly enjoyed it. I keep getting excited about, you know, unlocking new skills and perks that I can use, because those skills just look really fun to use. Are going to help with the way that I fight or the way that I traverse the city. So you really just want to spend a lot of time, you know, gaining experience and buying skills, and it's easy to get sidetracked. The good, like, I think one of the best qualities for an open world game to have, or a game with side quests, is that those side quests feel just as engaging as the main story does, to the point that like you may not even be invested at the main story at a certain point and tries to do side quests, that content that's just almost just as good, if not, you know, good or better. And that's so rarely been the case, you know, in gaming before the open world genre really sort of appeared. I mean, Majora's Mask has, I think, one of the most phenomenal side quests in gaming, that the story of which just really actually complements the main story. But you know, that was kind of one of the early examples of that I saw. And yeah, I would say that Dying Light 2 passes the open world test, in that, you know, a lot of these other missions are fun and rewarding to accomplish along the way. I don't like to go out of my way to do something. I'm not going to spend time clearing every level 1 quest of the map, you know, and then every level 2 quest, you know, but part of that's too because I wanted to talk about the game. I wanted to play through as much of the story as I could, but I mean, I feel like I definitely would have explored even more, to be honest, if I wasn't in a rush. Or I know I would have, you know. But even so, like, even if you're just like doing side missions on the way and just whatever isn't out of your way to do, it's a hell of a lot of fun. And I had to keep reminding myself, like, hey man, we really need to get going with the story. And that's not to say the main story isn't engaging, because it is. It's actually a lot of fun. And I like how you actually have the option now to change the landscape based on which faction you join. I mean, in Dying Light 1, you had, you know, the people in the tower who were, you know, obviously the good guys, and then you had fucking Rais and his gang, which were obviously bad guys. And yeah, you sort of worked alongside Rais, but you hated it the whole time. It's not something that you wanted to do. You did it for the good of the people of the tower. And then you have the other faction, which is the GRE, and, you know, kind of questioning what orders they're giving you and whatnot. This game is a little different. It's not so black and white. I mean, I feel like the survivors kind of seem like the ideal force, the ideal faction to side with. I mean, the peacekeepers obviously aren't doing a good enough job not letting people starve and not have access to water, and that's all that these people want. But it's not, it is, there still are a lot of shades of gray to it, because, you know, a lot of the survivors do shitty things, and people take advantage of each other, and the peacekeepers, you know, represent organization and whatnot. And later, when you get to the central loop, even though you've already picked a faction, you know, one way or the other, you're going to learn more about that other faction, you know, and kind of open up and see, you know, oh, hey, maybe the peacekeepers aren't so bad, you know, but you still have a decision to make. Who am I going to gonna take this, and you know, I thought I would have easily been like, oh yeah, I'm gonna side with the survivors the whole time, but I found myself kind of questioning it, you know, kind of thinking about it like, you know, the choice that I'm making has consequences one way or the other. You know, what about these guys that helped me out? You know, what are they gonna think about this? They may not be too happy that, you know, like they helped me out or they were nice to me, and we, you know, and just for me to kind of be like, nah, fuck you. But there's definitely there's a moral dilemma aspect to it. And even when you think that you have a clear cut choice, you still kind of wonder, you know, could I have made better choices? There's a lot more choice based dialogue now. I mean, I don't think that there was really, I don't really think you could make very many choices in the first game. I know the ending had a choice, but like just within dialogue in this game, you can select different options and make different decisions, or more often than not, just find out more about a situation and kind of, you know, get more of the details. Or if you don't feel like you need to, you know, it doesn't feel like you're obligated to. It feels like you're making choices. And then there are a few top points in the game where you do make like choices, and then it's sort of time sensitive. It gives you like just a few seconds to figure out what you're gonna do, and you're like, oh shit! It's kind of like a telltale game. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, I don't know. This feels like the right thing to do. I guess I'm gonna do it, but you have no idea what the consequences of those are. You know, I thought I was making the good choice. You know, to go like save this girl or whatever, and then I ended up like fighting all of her friends, and I'm like, I don't want to kill these people, like. So, you know, it definitely is it's a crazy game, and Aiden doesn't just serve as your avatar. I mean, he has his own personality and way of acting. You just sort of can direct him. You know, you can select different things to say. I'm going to kind of compare it to Horizon again, actually, because I thought that, you know, it's very similar, like Aloy. All of her personality dialogue options don't have a huge impact on the story, but they all feel like things that she would say, and but, you know, completely can change the way that, you know, you want to play her. So I feel like that way with Aiden. The dialogue choices, most of them I don't think have a huge impact on the story, but there are a few that do. And secondly, I feel like they're all in character, I suppose. Just kind of what personality characteristics you're playing off of, or, you know, what do you intend to mean, and what comes out of Aiden's mouth. You know, you kind of have this disconnect, and he's kind of a standoffish character, and you learn more through like these flashback sequences, and you understand his motivations. And one thing that's cool is that, you know, he's actually got some. I don't know if that's a spoiler. Maybe it is. Yeah, I'm not gonna say it, but yeah, no, I think that he definitely is definitely a lot more. He seems tougher than Kyle Crane does, but at the same time, the game also does is the second you become infected, like the game severely straddles your health and your stamina, and you have to find inhibitors in order to boost those back up again and unlock different. Some skills are locked behind your stamina or your health level, so that's important, not only to gain experience in those things, but also to take time to find the inhibitors in the world, and that way you can unlock all of the skills. And yeah, like I said, I really thoroughly enjoyed being able to do that. So I don't suppose there's a lot more to say about Dying Light 2. I mean, there is, but not a lot more to say without getting into spoiler territory. But I definitely recommend it. I think this game is severely underrated. I think it's terribly overlooked. If you're looking to jump into another game world just a little bit, you have a little bit of free time outside of the world of the lands between and or the Forbidden West, then I would definitely recommend it. If you'd like to jump back in and play Dying Light, that's on Switch. This game is available on PS4 and PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X and S. I played it on the PS4. It played okay. It didn't overheat my PS4, unlike both of the Horizon games do, like at all. I could play this game for hours and it ran smoothly. It's a little choppy at times, I think, because it's not, it's not designed for previous generation hardware as much, but it plays a hell of a lot better and smoother and, dare I say, faster than like Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So that just goes to show. It's also coming to Nintendo Switch. I'm assuming it's on PC as well. It has to be, but it's also coming to Nintendo Switch. There's no release date yet. We don't know when, but at some point we're getting a cloud-based version of this game, and that's really cool. I'm excited to see it. I'm really excited. But anyway, if you enjoyed the first game, definitely get it. If you weren't sure how you felt about the first game, you just never really got into it like me, get this game, and you don't even really need to finish the first one. Even if you didn't like it, or if you've never played it, I think, watch a couple gameplay videos before you spend $60 on it, and on a game world you may not come back to, right? Watch a few gameplay videos or consider my review, and kind of make your own decision based off of that. But next time we will be doing finishing up our Horizon episode. That's part of why I keep mentioning it's the other game I'm playing right now. So we're going to be doing another spoiler-free game launch review on Horizon Forbidden West. And this is going to be as the part 2 of our Horizon episode. We also have an episode coming out on Elden Ring as soon as possible this month. Don't worry about it. It's happening. I mean, those are really the priorities. Hellblade Senua's Saga, or Senua's Sacrifice, sorry. Not the second game that's coming out. Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice is the next main episode we're doing, like our numbered episode. And I'm not even worried about getting that out this month as planned, as much as I am getting out those game launch episodes. That's sort of the plan here. But we'll see. And hopefully we will have not just me on all of those. I know for a fact we won't. Megan, of course, is playing Horizon Forbidden West and loving it. Can't wait to start talking about it. I think we're meant to record that this week. And I know Agony wanted to, who we did our Elden Ring stream with, live stream or his live stream. We were guests on his live stream, and we would like him to be on our episode. He's going to. He had planned to be on that episode, so I expect Megan will be there as well. Maybe Zach. Zach, if you're listening, I don't know if you've been playing Elden Ring, but you should. Yeah, they're going to be on the Elden Ring episode, and then Hellblade. I mean, definitely, obviously Megan's going to be there for that, and I'll be on all of these because. So we still have a lot of other stuff coming out. We're sort of winding down the season, but we're trying to just get everything out and planning next season already. I'm actually really excited about it. Super stoked. But if you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, feedback on Spotify, or whatever your platform of choice is. If there's an option to give feedback, we'd love to have it. Even if it's not 5 stars, right? If you have some complaints, all right. If it's like 1 star, if it's like bad, like come DM me about it first. Maybe we can talk through it. I'm kidding. I want constructive criticism, and I want things to be genuine. And I really enjoy the how much people have retweeted us and followed us and listened to us. We really appreciate all of that. I need to wind down. I need to go back to work. So you can find Collateral Gaming on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, wherever you listen to your podcasts. We have a Patreon. It's where we have exclusive Let's Play video game commentaries. A lot of fun. Want to get some more out. And we are also on social media. Check us out on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. On the Collateral Cinema side, that's our other sister podcast, if you're not aware, our Collateral Cinema movie podcast. We actually just did a collaboration with them on the Uncharted movie. It just got that out like a couple days ago as of the time of recording this. So go check out our take on the Uncharted movie adaptation starring Tom Holland. And next month we are going to be doing So I Married an Axe Murderer with one of my absolute favorite people, Megan Price. She's going to be on that episode, and that's going to be fun. And yeah, so if yeah, that's it. That's all I have. Alrighty, well, this has been Collateral Gaming. My name is Ashley. We are out. Collateral Gaming is a Collateral Media podcast. All music and game clips are owned by their respective creators and are used for educational purposes only. Please don't sue us. We're poor.